Hi, Dr. Chip Evans here with the Evans Group LLC, business consultants located worldwide in 50 licensees. And look at what you're looking at. Pictures of dogs. And that's my beautiful daughter over there when she's about 18. And the purpose of this dialogue is to talk about adaptability. My dog Lacey is 13 years old. She's the eighth dog that we've, quote, owned in our 43-year marriage. Never has a dog really been owned, but dogs that we've been able to live with. All of them have been mutts. Lacey came to us in December 13 years ago from a very poverty-stricken area where she was left with her large litter, and she was the sickly of the litter, and the Humane Society called us because we're suckers, and we had just lost our dog of almost 14 and a half years, and we took Lacey in, and Lacey became Lacey the Rottweiler. She was a combination Rottweiler, German Shepherd, and Labrador, and was a very, very frustrating, tough dog the first 2 years because she had very much a mind of her own and very much an intelligence level beyond any dog I'd ever worked with. I knew that by the time she was 2 that her word limit was at least 200, and that she could read my mind. She was my soulmate. Some of you will smile at that, others of you will understand it, and others will know that there's much more to what an animal is than to what a human is, because an animal sees things much more clearly. Lacey has been a marathon runner, and she's also run typically 13, 14 miles a day, 3 or 4 days a week, for years at a time as I trained for marathons, being the dog that got porcupined, got skunked, would go jump into lakes as we would go running, and would heel right next to me the entire time. By the time she was 2, she allowed me to let myself be trained. I hope you heard that right. I was unable to train the dog before that in the normal disciplinary fashions that I want to train an animal to heel and to be disciplined and to be well bred and well led. And Lacey said, "I'm not doing that. I'm in charge of myself, and when you're ready, I'll talk to you." And at the end of 2 years, she said, "Okay, Dad, let's get trained. It's time for me to train you." And it took about a year, but she was able to train me into making her the perfect trained dog. And of course, me, the perfectly trained human. In the course of the next few years, as she ran marathons and lived her life with her um, young child, as she grew up with the young child, you can see Lacey in her full bore at 95 pounds back a few years ago with our daughter Jen when she was much younger. And you can see her full bore there lying on a couch, and full bore here as the full service big dog that she is. And now you can see a picture of her now, the three-legged dog. What's happened to Lacey is simple. She's been through 5 surgeries for cancer in the last year and a half, 2 years, and she's survived all of them. Every one she survived. She then went through a bout where she had to have both of her knees replaced because they were so abused and patterned after years of running that we made a decision as a couple, my wife and I, that we wanted to have her knees replaced, wanted her to have a better life because she had so much arthritis in her knees, probably from all the pounding on the ground without tennis, without running shoes, but she loved every minute of it. Then recently, about 6 months ago, she was diagnosed very, very suddenly with cancer that was very horrible on her side, and she survived it. Lacey the Conqueror, or Lacey the Conquistador. Each time she allowed her body to be shaved, each time she allowed medications and shots, each time she allowed to be penned into a cage, often for weeks at a time, and I would sleep on the floor with her during that time period while she recuperated from knee surgery or cancers, etc. And then about 2 months ago, we heard that Lacey had a very, very bad leg and that the cancer was spreading, this new cancer was spreading, and that she had 3 choices. We could put her to sleep then when she was still a very healthy, happy dog, just in pain. Or we could try to let her live her life out in the pain and suffer and see what happened. Or we could make the radical steps of amputating her leg taking away the cancer and providing chemotherapy for her. Because this dog is more important to us than any part of our soul other than our daughter and my wife and myself, we opted for the amputation. And I'm leaving out all the horrifying pictures of a big dog amputated. She went from 95 pounds, she's now 58. And that picture that we see down here in the corner, that drawing that we have, is the best we've been able to do of actually taking a picture of Lacey standing on her third leg. What's occurred is that Lacey didn't know what she didn't know. She didn't know that there could be more pain or more frustration, or that she could utilize this to be hard to adjust to. Instead, she didn't think too much. She immediately adjusted. She showed adaptability. She immediately began listening to both of us teach her how to walk again. And within 4 days, the dog was starting to walk on her own. Last week, she walked an entire block, all by herself, my carrying a sling in case she needed help, and on the way back, she needed help just to get back from the strength in her leg. My point is to tell you a dog story because dog stories tear your eyes out. But my point is really to show you the soulmate characteristics of a dog that knows much more than we think that a dog knows, because we don't know what we don't know. And I hope you've heard that from many of our lectures. But what we don't know, that we don't know, a dog also doesn't know what it's supposed to react to. So instead, Lacey reacted by saying, I'm loved, I'm healthy, I'm happy. I need mom and dad to help me walk, but pretty soon I can walk. And now she's walking on her own, she's struggling, she's trying, and she has years more of life or months more in life. Doesn't matter. What I've learned is the ultimate adaptability that comes when you have no preconception. Be well.